Greetings everyone, I am Sterling Fenn, our Media and Event Coordinator at the Beaumont Chamber of Commerce, and today we wanted to go live on our Facebook to discuss something that we believe can help our businesses and the individuals following our page. Some of you may know already, others may not, but there is a formal goal setting process called S.M.A.R.T goals that we would like to talk to you about today that can allow you to achieve more successful goal setting, to accomplish goals, to stretch yourself, and to really find ways to grab greater success both in your personal life and also for the life of your business or as an employee. So we will be going through some things today. We will start off with an introduction of what S.M.A.R.T goals is. S.M.A.R.T goals is a structure it's a structure of goal setting to increase trackability of your goals and your objectives. Instead of vague resolutions, S.M.A.R.T goal setting creates verifiable trajectories towards a certain objective with clear milestones and an estimation of the goal's attainability. What is a S.M.A.R.T goal? A S.M.A.R.T goal is specific, measurable, relevant, or specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So for your goal to be a S.M.A.R.T goal, we need to go through each of these areas to make sure that the goal that we set is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So we will go through each of these areas. To be specific, we can think of some questions to help us be specific with our goal. What exactly do we want to achieve? Where will it take place? How? When? With whom? What are the conditions and limitations? As we consider the specifics of our goal, it will allow us to focus in more clearly on what we hope to achieve, and also it will allow us to keep in mind exactly what we are trying to accomplish. With S.M.A.R.T goals, it's important to be specific. A goal of getting better at your job isn't a S.M.A.R.T goal because it isn't specific enough. We need to define it and to break it down. Instead, you might ask yourself, what are we getting better at? How much better do we want to get? And what actions can and will we take to get there? A specific goal needs to be something that we can work towards, and it needs to be something that is well defined so that we can understand what we are chasing and what it is that we wish to achieve. So we need our S.M.A.R.T goal must be specific. It must also be measurable. You need to break goals into measurable elements. You can do this by taking your goal and breaking it into measurable pieces. We will get into measures a little bit later, but as an example, you might say that your goal is to be happier. Perhaps your goal, when set, your desire is to be happier, but that's not enough evidence. We need some more measurable evidence. So you might say that your goal is not just to be happier, but it's a better goal might be not smoking anymore because you adhere to a healthy lifestyle where you eat vegetables twice a day and fat only once a week. Can you see how much more specific that is? How much more measurable that is? The benefit of doing something like that could be that you will be happier, but we're going to measure it by these other things. What are we doing? How often are we doing it? We are going to work to make it very, very measurable. These kind of goals work both for business and for personal lives, so you will see examples of each and how those goals can be determined. We must make sure our goal is attainable. An attainable goal pushes you to achieve what is possible. Sometimes we set goals that are just a little too high, and those can be discouraging because we may not always reach those goals and we feel like we've fallen short. With a S.M.A.R.T goal, you want to make sure that you are setting an attainable goal, something that will push you and stretch you, but it is encouraging and not overwhelming. You don't want to set a goal that's too high because oftentimes you will be discouraged and you will feel like you haven't done your best and nothing has been achieved. So we want to push ourselves, but we should have an understanding of what our abilities are, where our comfort zone is, and how far we can push ourselves. Wherever possible, you want to use your own metrics and analytics to help make sure your goal is attainable. What does that mean? If your goal is in business, and say you've had a 5% increase in your website traffic every month, an attainable goal might be, let's move it from 5% to 8% or maybe 10%, not something lofty like 25 or 30%. So you want to start kind of small. This way you can get used to this goal setting process. You will be able to track things a little bit slower, and you'll be able to increase over time. And again, it's not going to overwhelm you, but it's based on things that you can do. For a personal goal, you might take a look at what you're doing already and find ways that you can measure what your efforts are in your goal and find ways to just push it a little bit more. You'll want to make sure that your goal is relevant to your vision or to your business. So for business, making a relevant business goal could be something like, if we increase our marketing efforts and our performance, look for the relevancy that will have for the rest of your business. Your sales could increase. Perhaps your customer service will be better. Perhaps you'll have more customers. The benefit that you have in the marketing area can affect other areas within your business. This will allow you to have relevancy with your goal in advancing either your work position or your company that you represent. So make sure that your business goals are highlighting and work well with your company, and that they are relevant to what your position or your business is trying to achieve. As a personal side of a SMART goal, you can do this as well. Think about what your long-term goals are on a personal level, and think of how this SMART goal will take you further to becoming that person. It could be gaining an education. It could be getting in better shape. Perhaps it's being more organized. What you can do is look at your SMART goal and perhaps work on things that will lead you to the vision that you have for yourself in the future. It's been said before that the long term is just a lot of short terms. So with SMART goals, you're able to kind of break it down in a digestible way to allow you to help move forward and to keep yourself on track. So keeping a relevant goal is very important. As said, with a business goal, will it increase your work or company performance? Keep this in mind. And for a personal goal, does it apply to your personal vision and your personal desires for growth? Keep those in mind when discussing the relevancy of your SMART goals. Finally, you want to make sure that you are having a time-bound SMART goal. This means setting a firm deadline or using a repeating cycle. For example, a deadline example might be, by December 1st or by the end of the month. Whereas a repeating cycle, it could be something that you do every week, month, 6 months, every year. You want to make sure that you are following this kind of time-bound structure so that you can keep yourself accountable for your progress and that you will be able to measure yourself along the way. A big portion of a SMART goal's measurability is this time-bound process. So as you get closer to deadline, or as you go through your repeating cycle, week over week, month over month, whichever works best for your goal, you're able to measure your progress along the way. An additional benefit of using a time-bound structure as part of your SMART goal is that it provides you with a healthy dose of pressure. Oftentimes, if we don't have perhaps a deadline or an end point for our goals, they can become kind of just wishful thinking. The best way to engage with a goal and to really get after one and work on achieving one is to have a deadline. And that healthy dose of pressure will push you to work harder. It'll push you to be more accountable with yourself. It'll help you to budget the time that you have as you work toward those goals. So having a time-bound goal is very important, along with using those measurability points to help you. Now, it's possible that as you go through your time schedule of your SMART goal, perhaps you'll begin to see how attainable the goal was. If you set too lofty a goal, the time-bound element of the goal will allow you to see how much you are getting done and how quickly. So if we set a goal that's too high, and perhaps we progressed halfway through, we'll be able to measure the goal, see how far we've come, and if we are not progressing to the degree that we had set, we could take a look at our attainability again and perhaps make some adjustments. So the time-bound element of the SMART goal is very, very important, be it in a repeating cyclical process with a cycle or setting a firm deadline for yourself so that you can work toward a goal and that you can work to achieve it, both with personal or with business. This is very important for us. It'll help us to stay on track and help us to push ourselves a little harder as we get closer. When using the SMART goal, there are a couple of different things that we want to do that will help us to set a SMART goal. So each of these steps are specifically for each letter in the SMART goals or each requirement of a SMART goal. So the first, of course, is to use specific wording. We want to make sure that our SMART goal is worded in a way that it includes all of these other elements. A SMART goal should always be written, and this is perhaps the most important part. If you write a SMART goal and you're specific with what you want to do, your intentions will be clear, you will have measurable performance, you will have an attainable goal that is relevant and that is bound by time, so that you will know what exactly you are chasing, how you will be measured as you go along, that the goal is attainable for yourself, that it's relevant, and with your time bound, you will be able to have an accomplishment date for yourself as long as your goal is attainable and as long as you work hard to achieve your goal. So I have some examples of SMART goals. I have a business example for you, and I have a personal example as well. We'll start with our business example. So this is an example of growing a business blog. Many businesses have blogs. They use these things for email marketing, for promoting services or products, or for keeping a customer base engaged with their business so that they can communicate, they can talk to each other. It could be a newsletter, it could be a product service announcement, whatever you like. Some businesses even run blogs in specific areas of interest like hiking or running, or other sports or activities or other interests that coincide with perhaps what their business supports. So while this example is a blog, it could be used with almost any kind of metric or other increase for a business. So listen carefully to the way that this is worded, and then we will break this down and after go on to the personal example. So our SMART goal example is this. At the end of this month, our blog will see an 8% increase in web traffic by increasing our weekly publishing frequency from 5 posts per week to 8 posts per week. Now, as we digest this, and if you listen carefully with me, you will see that this SMART goal has every piece of the puzzle that we need. It is very specific, it has measurable units inside of the goal, it's attainable, it's relevant to the business, and it's time-bound. So look for each of these things as we go through. It starts with at the end of this month. So there's our time frame. So we know that this is a 1-month deadline. It says our blog will see an 8% increase. That is what they're targeting. That is both their specific goal, but also the measurable portion of their goal. This also serves as the attainable aspect of the goal. We talked about increases. This is a moderate increase, but a good increase. This is something that should be very attainable for a business, and they have a very specific plan to get it done. So their performance is going to be increasing their website traffic to their blog. That means getting more visitors, getting more eyes onto the blog. So they are going to be doing this 8% in 1 month by increasing their weekly publishing frequency. So that means they're going to go from 5 posts on their blog in a week to 8 posts in a week. This will do a couple of things for them. This will allow the existing audience to have additional posts to view each week. So throughout the month, they will work on that increase by having repeat viewers that are engaging with now additional content from 5 up to the 8. So those individuals would generate more website traffic, but perhaps these other areas of posts bring in additionals that perhaps haven't seen the AdWorks or the blog post before. Maybe they're expanding into other topics, but you can see that all of this growing their blog is relevant to their business because it will get them more website traffic, more customer awareness, more potential customers, and it will help them to grow their business. So I'll read this one more time for us, but you can see as we go through, a SMART goal is something that once read, you know exactly what it is, how it will be measured, and you know that it's relevant, attainable, and time-bound. So let's read this one more time. This is a business blog example of a SMART goal. At the end of this month, our blog will see an 8% increase in web traffic by increasing our weekly publishing frequency from 5 posts per week to 8 posts per week. So it is very specific and it has everything that you would need. It's very, very clear and it is an excellent goal. Now, what does the personal side of this look like? We're going to follow the same format, but I've given us a personal example of something that perhaps could be applied in your personal life. In the personal example, we've chosen exercise, but this could be any number of things. It could be finding, better relationships with your family members. It could be gardening. It could be cooking. It could be any number of things. But for this example, running works well for an example for us. So we will go through this, and you'll find again that this example includes all of those things that we were looking for in a SMART goal. So the personal example is this. It says, I will run a total of 50 miles each week by completing 5 runs every weekday while maintaining a 7-minute per mile time. I will do this until the marathon date of January 1st, 2020. I wish I could say this was me and was my goal. I'm not quite there yet. But you can see with this goal, we have exactly the same structure as the previous for our business. So of any goal that you have, you can put it into the same format. We know that very specifically what this person's trying to achieve. We have the measurements of what they're achieving, and it is broken down in a way where they've scheduled their time and dedicated themselves to the goal. So I'll read it one more time for us, and we can look for each part. First, it's very specific. That's kind of throughout. I will run a total of 50 miles each week by completing 5 runs every weekday. So it is very specific. We can see exactly what they're going to do. They're going to run 10 miles a day for 5 days every weekday, each week. These are also how the goal is made measurable. So a total of 50 miles each week. Maybe they feel really good and they run even more. Maybe they run 53, 55, almost 60 miles. Maybe they have a hard time and they're running a little bit less. Maybe they're somewhere in the 40 range. They know that they are trying to run 50 miles each week. But in addition to that, they've scheduled themselves to run every weekday. So every weekday they've already allotted their time to make the goal more attainable. And they also have another performance figure in here. They are hoping to run a 7-minute mile each time. So as this is a marathon training example, they have measured exactly how fast they're going to run, how often they are going to run, and how far in total each week they will be running. So this allows you to see it's very specific, it's very measurable, it's an attainable goal that they can work towards. This would be somebody of a very high talent to do this, but you can see that pushing yourself in this kind of format can help you to reach your goal. It's also very relevant to their marathon training. Running a total of 50 miles a week is appropriate to marathon training, I believe, from what I've researched. And a 7-minute mile time is a pretty aggressive target for them to be looking at. So as they can maintain this, and as they can do it for the time-bound duration until January 1st, they would be ready for their marathon. So, some additional things for you, some tips with SMART goals. Some of these are good tips for any kind of goal setting, but especially with SMART goals. Please remember to stay positive. It is very difficult sometimes to stay motivated, to stay positive about goals, because goals aren't the most comfortable thing all the time. Goals are designed to push us and to help us to become better. So sometimes we naturally resist those because it's difficult. But if we can remember to be positive, positivity will encourage our endurance and our determination, and so we will work harder for longer, and we can stay determined to reach our goals. One of the ways I'd like to do this is to try to think of the end goal while you're working hard. You know, in the running example, that person can think of what it will be like to run that marathon while they're training. They can think of how proud they will be, how good they will feel within themselves that they've accomplished something extremely difficult. They can use that as motivation, and they can review their progress and stay positive about their efforts on their timeline basis, and also their performance basis by measuring their goals. So remember to stay positive and to treat yourself kindly when you're pursuing goals, especially hard goals. Related to this, give yourself acknowledgement, recognize progress, and feel proud of your work. When you've worked hard at a goal, you want to make sure that you've given yourself some kind of a reward. Exercising, people talk about cheat days as rewards. Perhaps it's something like that. Perhaps it's just taking time to look in the mirror and to thank yourself for what you've done. You're working to improve yourself. You can recognize yourself, you can recognize your efforts, and as you're tracking your efforts, you'll be able to see measurable increases in what you've done for both a company and a business, or for your personal goals. You'll be able to measure those and to feel good about what you've done. So recognize progress and feel proud of your work. Additionally, try to make it a habit. Setting a SMART goal is something that takes a lot of determination, a lot of hard work, but it's one of the best ways that I know to help yourself work hard for a business, for yourself. If you really want to get something done, make it a SMART goal and keep yourself accountable to it. This is one of the ways that you'll be able to help yourself. And as you get used to the SMART goal format, you'll be able to very quickly determine which goals are SMART goals and are not by looking for each piece, that it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. You can look for each of those elements in the goal, or perhaps you'll encounter other goals throughout your life, perhaps with business, that can be enhanced by using the SMART goal format. Perhaps a goal is a little bit vague, perhaps it's a little open-ended, or it's difficult to measure, or perhaps you have an excellent goal, but there's no time-bound end of the goal. So it's kind of just out there and floating in space, and you can reel it in and bring it closer to reality by using this format. So the more that you make it a habit, the more that you can study it out, this will become more and more familiar to you, and it will be easier to get regular goals that you can increase and have more achievement in your life and in your business by using the SMART goal format. If you need more help, there's a couple of things that you can do. Along the way, goals can be difficult, so you can find resources. If you'd like to learn more about SMART goals, there is a tremendous amount of information on the internet about SMART goals. You can find reviews, you can find videos, tutorials, guides, all are available. You can even find specific steps to walk you through setting a SMART goal. You can also find an accountability partner. Perhaps you want to do something very difficult, especially personal, perhaps like running or exercise. you can report your progress and your efforts to a friend to help you to stay on track. Perhaps in a business, this is working together as a team. It's communicating about the goal. It's keeping regular progress and staying accountable, which is very important to any goal achieving. You can also celebrate your progress, along with working hard to stay positive and to stay motivated, encouraging yourself to go forward. Celebrate the progress that you do have, especially once you've reached your goal. Once you've reached your goal, acknowledge it. Think of the hard work that you put into that goal and keep that with you and use it to remind yourself that you can do hard things. You can stay positive, you can give yourself credit, and you can stay motivated. All of these things will help you to feel good, have the energy that you need, and work even harder for future SMART goals. If you have any questions about SMART goals, you can contact myself. My email here at the Beaumont Chamber of Commerce is marketing@beaumontcachamber.com. You can also send us a Facebook message, or you can replay this video if needed, or as discussed, you can go throughout the many different resources available on the internet. There is a great deal of resources for you, so you can take a look at those and find something that works for you. This video will be on our YouTube channel, so you can find us there as well, Beaumont Chamber of Commerce. It'll be available also on our Facebook page. So it will be here. You can come back if you need. But we at the Beaumont Chamber always are trying to find ways to help both our businesses and our individuals that are in our community. And I strongly believe that SMART goals can help you to do that by setting a strong goal and maintaining it, being specific, going through each of the steps. It'll allow you to have a focus on what your goal can be, and it'll help you to get there and to rise to the challenge of meeting that goal. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please send us an email, leave a comment, send us a message, and if there's anything that you'd like us to discuss in the future in terms of goal setting or resources for maintaining a happy life and a successful business, please email those to myself, marketing@beaumontcachamber.com. Thank you so much. This is Sterling Fenn at the Beaumont Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for tuning in and learning with us.